In this lesson, we're going to talk about breath, emotions, and movement. And I'd like to start off with a personal story of when my bike got stolen. I went into a cafe to grab a coffee on my way to teach a yoga class, and I come outside and my bike was stolen. I was in shock. I was in shock. I was looking everywhere for a bike that wasn't there. And then when I realized it had been stolen, I was fuming. I was angry. I was thinking about revenge. I could feel such a hard edge in me. And then I realized I had to get to my class to teach. So there was a lot of emotion and a lot going on. I found my way to class. Somehow I was able to teach class. And at some point during class, something shifted in me. I shifted. The practice of breathing slowly, the practice of my diaphragm moving slowly, communicating with my nervous system, helped my brain to shift. And at the end of class, I thought, it's okay. Maybe the thief needed the bike more than I do. What was it that allowed for that change from my emotions of being angry and wanting revenge and feeling frustrated and being in shock to this place where I was totally accepting of what happened? The shift came through breath. It is one of the most powerful, simple interventions that you can use to manage your own emotions. And when I'm speaking about breath, I'm talking about breathing with the diaphragm. When we breathe with the diaphragm, it communicates to the nervous system and communicates that the nervous system can switch out of fight, flight, or freeze mode, and it can shift into a different brain state and a different state of being. It is incredible how important and how profound the impact of breath is. Not only does it shift the nervous system and shift our brain, but it also helps to release and unwind physical tension, and it helps to bring us present into the moment, outside of stories that keep us caught in our minds and spinning and looping in the same thing. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about breathing in terms of the movement of the diaphragm and how important it is to breathe with the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle that sits just below the heart and lungs. And when we breathe in, the diaphragm moves downward. Our belly moves outward. And as we breathe out, the belly draws in and the diaphragm moves upward. When we're able to breathe in this way, where the diaphragm is moving down and upward, massaging the abdominal organs, massaging the heart, it's that specific movement that communicates with the nervous system to help shift our brain and bring us out of our heads and into the present. Now, sometimes our emotions are too much and too strong and too intense that we can't just sit down and breathe. We need movement. We need movement to dissipate the charge, the energetic charge of emotions. That can be a walk, a run, exercise, any form of movement that really helps you to release the physical tension that accompanies emotion, helps to dissipate the energetics of emotions, and helps us to really release physically and mentally and emotionally so that we can then be in a better place to look at the conflict or the scenario from a more centered and balanced place. I mentioned in lesson 2 that emotions comes from the word emuovere, which means to move through. And what I've learned from my own experience is that some emotions are like a thunderstorm. They come through you and they go away. And the problem is that often our thoughts and our mental patterns get stuck in such a way that our thoughts feed the emotion and our emotions are feeding the thoughts. If that's the case, an interruption like movement and breath can help to create that interruption, that you can start to tune into what's happening inside of you. Ask yourself the question, what am I feeling? inquire about what's happening. And most of all, we can inquire to what's underneath the emotion. And when we get to our core needs and values, we're really getting to the heart of communication and the heart of conflict. Click on the next link, and in Lesson 4, we'll learn more about core needs and values so that we can communicate the very root of what's important to us.